Hate week starts now. Oh, what a fun time it'll be in Columbus, Ohio for hate week. Everyone's going to enjoy Thanksgiving. They're going to draw their X's instead of their M's. And then people that have no idea about this rivalry, which, yes, there are people that don't know about Ohio State-Michigan football rivalry or think that it's stupid, people who live in Columbus. I know those types of people, and that's okay. They see that and they're like, well, what are you doing? Why aren't you drawing an M? Because it's hate week. It's Michigan week. We hate them. That team up north, you don't write the letter M for Thanksgiving week. It's just a law. So, lose 2 times and Bama better be out. They better be. They better be out if they lose 2 times, especially if Cincinnati's undefeated. Because if Cincinnati weren't undefeated and Alabama were to lose to Georgia in the SEC title and have 2 losses, who would you put in? Because Michigan State now has 2 losses. Assuming OSU beats Michigan next week, there's another 2-loss team in Michigan. Does that leave the... Oh, no. Does that leave the door open for Notre Dame? Are we going to see Notre Dame in the playoff again? Because I don't think anybody wants that. I don't even think Notre Dame wants that. Notre Dame fans will probably be like, oh, wow, we snuck into the playoff. Cool. Who we playing? Georgia. Okay, let's lose by 60 and not win another playoff game. I would happily take Alabama making the playoff over Notre Dame. I don't want to see Notre Dame in there again because they're always a waste of a spot. They have been every time they've been in the playoff. I don't want to see Notre Dame. I'll take Alabama. I'll happily watch Georgia, Alabama be a competitive game rather than see Georgia dismantle Notre Dame. I'm sorry. Next year will be a better indicator of NFL projected success when NPF and Munford leave and they're being inexperienced. It considers pressure and cloudy pockets. Other QB could do the same. Yeah, next year will be good for NFL projected stuff, especially for Stroud and Smith and Jigba. Don't give a damn. Yeah, we don't give a damn about that whole state. Imagine OSU does this to Michigan next week. My goodness gracious. That'd be ridiculous. And let alone, this is probably going to be one of the more hyped about hate weeks for Ohio State fans because of the fact that this game didn't happen last year. And Columbus, that December 12th evening, was set to have a mega sports day. That day was set up to be OSU Michigan at the Shoe, albeit in an empty horseshoe or with very little fans. And then that evening was going to be the MLS Cup final between the Columbus Crew and the Seattle Sounders. The MLS Cup final happened. Columbus ended up winning, but we all know that the game was canceled last year because of COVID. So the anticipation and the hype around this is going to be probably the biggest we've ever seen for an OSU Michigan game. Maybe not the biggest, maybe not bigger than the game where they were number 1 and number 2 back in 2006, or maybe even the last time they played as top 5 teams. But because of the fact that it didn't happen last year, that just makes all the hype even better. Because you're so used to seeing a game like this happen every year. This is just an annual tradition. Saturday after Thanksgiving, you sit down at noon, watch OSU play Michigan. Didn't happen last year. It's been 2 years since they've played. So that's just going to make the hype for this game even bigger, which is great. I think that just helps the excitement of the city. That helps people who might not have been following OSU football as religiously get into it a little bit more because the game didn't happen last year, which is going to make it a lot of fun. OSU going to fill in Michigan seats? Oh, for sure. Definitely. I mean, it's not that far for travel, well, at least Northeast Ohio residents it is. Yeah, Northeast, it's a trip for sure. If you live in Cleveland, it's a trip to get to Ann Arbor. It's a 3-hour drive from here to Ann Arbor. If you live in Cincy, it's also a bit of a trip to get to the big house. So we've done that drive before. We've driven to Ann Arbor. It's 3 hours, and the drive's pretty easy. You know, it's not too difficult. You don't have to drive through any crazy ranges and crazy roads. It's a pretty straightforward drive to get to Ann Arbor from Columbus, at least. I don't know what it's like for Cincy or Cleveland, but it's going to be exciting. And fans are going to be even more excited because the Buckeye sent a message today. And it's like, yo, we're really good. We just destroyed the Spartans. We're going to come to your house and keep it and destroy you, Wolverines. Not sure Arbo took a cue from Monty Python's Holy Grail. They ran away. Yeah. This is going to be a tough game, though. Michigan's a good football team. So they gotta go in there the same way they went in today. Let's try and put the pedal to the metal. Michigan's defense is better than Michigan State's, so it's going to be a tougher game for sure. but it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see if it's competitive. If it's not competitive and it's a easy route, then it's like great Big Ten championship. Ohio State fans, no M's for now until after 3:30 next week. Hope to play that good next week. Oh, you hope OSU plays that good every week. That's one of the best games we've ever seen from Ohio State. It was an unbelievable performance. Best half of football I've ever seen the Buckeyes play in my life. When you're up 49, 42 nothing at the break. Oh yeah. Imagine that. Imagine hearing OHIO in the big house next Saturday. That'll be fun. This city will be stopped on Saturday afternoon to watch that game. And then the hope is they win, and then they go to Indianapolis and play in the Big Ten championship, which let's get a sense of the Big Ten West. I want to see what's going on over there. So if we look at our little statistical thingy-mabobby. So yeah, the Big Ten West is between Wisconsin and Iowa, most likely. Iowa is winning right now. Wisconsin is tied with Nebraska. So if both teams win, who are they playing in week 13? Iowa's playing Nebraska, and Wisconsin's playing Minnesota. Ooh, okay. So if Wisconsin and Iowa continue to win out, it will be OSU versus Wisconsin again. They always play each other in the Big Ten championship, it feels like. It'd be nice to see Iowa make it just for a little bit of a different flavor, but OSU, Wisconsin, that's like the Big Ten championship. I mean, how many times have they played in the Big Ten championship game? Feels like at least like 4 or 5 times since the Big Ten championship game started. So yeah, OSU has won the last 4 Big Ten championships. They have played Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship 3 times. The 59-0 win in 2014, the 27-21 win in 2017, and the 34-21 win in 2019 with Turf Guy. Ohio State's 5-1 in Big Ten championships. Wisconsin is 2-4. Michigan State, surprisingly, is the only other Big Ten team with a winning record in Big Ten championships at 2-1. And Penn State, one of 4 teams to win the Big Ten championship game since it started in 2011. And no team from the West Division has ever won the Big Ten championship. It's only been the East Division. And not to mention that, how many Ohio State quarterbacks have won the MVP? 3. Justin Fields, Dwayne Haskins, Cardell Jones, J.K. Dobbins won an MVP. Trey Sermon won the MVP for breaking the rushing record against Northwestern in last year's game. That was a fun game when Trey Sermon just went absolutely bonkers and ran for like 3,000 yards. Incredible. But that is in 2 weeks. Next week, it's all about Michigan and whether or not Ohio State can get that dub. We'll see if they can get that dub. It'll be interesting to see. But want to hear from y'all, the chat, about what you thought. Any other thoughts about the game? Yeah, beat the hell out of them. We'll see if they do. If anyone's got any questions about anything, any other thoughts about the game, any other hype stuff that y'all want to talk about, for sure. Because once again, another week where Ohio State just wipes the floor with somebody, and analysis is not really needed overly for a game like this where they win by 49. Which of that team up north players will untie a shoe in another classless act? Who knows? Untying someone's shoe. That's a pretty good second grade trick. Second graders really like untying people's shoe. The classic one is when you tie the shoes together, but don't bully. Don't bully people. Love and Wilson need to break 1,000 yards next week to go with JSN. Yeah, I don't know how many more yards they need to get to 1,000, but if OSU were to have 3 1,000-yard wide receivers, best receiving core in OSU history. No doubt it will be the best receiving core in OSU history. I think they already are. So, excuse me. Let's see some of the other scores. So, yeah, Notre Dame is up 45-0 against Georgia Tech. Just don't let the Irish get into the playoff, please. Bama's up 3-0. All right, Arkansas is giving them a run for their money. Michigan's up 7-0 against Maryland. Wowee. Pitt is losing to UVA. Lovely. Cincy's up 14-0. All right, way to go, Cincy. Any other crazy results? The fact that Clemson beat Wake Forest, good for them. Nice to see Clemson again win. Oklahoma bounces back with a win over Iowa State. But that Oregon game tonight is going to be really fun. That's going to be a really good game. Wilson 4 touchdowns, maybe. Can our offense outscore TTUN if our defense plays badly? I think so. I think so. With the way the offense is playing and how efficient CJ Stroud has been throwing the football and how the receivers are just finding ways to get open no matter who's covering them. Granted, Michigan State's pass defense is not very good, statistically speaking, but I think Ohio State can outscore Michigan if it turns into a shootout and the defenses are just not bringing it to the table. OSU's offense is better than Michigan's. I think CJ Stroud can go off for some big throws. How the heck are all these teams going to fill head coaching vacancies this year? I don't know. We're going to have to find coaches. Maybe one of you guys applies for the job. Hell, you want to be a head coach college football, just go ahead and do it. I still would love to see a simulation college football video game made where you don't actually play. So there's a famous video game called Football Manager, which is like being a soccer manager, but have that. It's like making all the financial decisions, recruiting players, et cetera, but make that for college football. That would be so much fun. I think games like that do exist, but they're not nearly as advanced, but that would be really cool. Where you can just like pick some random school a la NCAA football. You just manage the games and pick plays and whatnot rather than actually physically playing them. That would be fun. There's an idea there. If any of y'all make games and are coders, you should send that idea over. Maybe make a game. Good news is Notre Dame would be left out if they and Cincy both went out. We won't have to watch them or Oklahoma in the playoffs this year. I don't think we're going to see Oklahoma in the playoffs this year, but I think there is a way for Notre Dame to get in. It would require Cincinnati to lose, and that's it. It basically requires Cincinnati to lose a game and the committee to see Alabama maybe with 2 losses and think, oh, maybe they're not so good. Oh, maybe we're not going to put Alabama in the playoff this year. So that might be the way that Notre Dame, swarms its way into the top 4. Has Alabama missed a playoff? I think they've missed a playoff, one time? If I'm not mistaken. Alabama. Yeah, Alabama's missed 1 playoff. What was their record that year? They missed the playoff. And this was obviously the playoff that LSU won. And OSU lost to Clemson. We don't speak of that game. Great officiating in that one. That was not an interception. Where's Alabama's record? Alabama went 11-2. Okay, so they did knock out a 2-loss Alabama team who lost to LSU in an amazing game, and then they lost to Auburn in a 3-point thriller. So maybe they don't keep a 2-loss Alabama team in there. Maybe. Have to see. The fact that Bama's made every playoff, though, is just sickening. It's just, ugh. Every playoff has consisted of one of Alabama or Clemson. And then you sneak in either Oklahoma or Ohio State in there.